Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Lyric. This particular podcast has been designed to highlight some of the things that's said in my songs. For those of you that are not familiar with who I am, my name is Nehemiah. I'm a gospel rapper, and I find that there's a lot of things that's said that I just want to, just highlight because there's a lot of pain, joy, victories, even tears behind a lot of the things that I'm saying. And I think that it's important for me to highlight the meaning of some of my lyrics so it doesn't go over people's heads, to really give glory unto the risen King, for people to understand that he's still at work, he is alive, and that tomb's empty, I'm telling you. So I've got so much testimony, so much things to share, and I put it in the form of rap because everything that you hear me saying is coming from a real place. So I'm excited for today. There's some things I'm going to share with you all, and I really hope it's going to empower and also inspire you as well. I want to say a massive shout out to my bro in the building, Rose the Saint, my brother, Lion Rose, check out each track. At the time of this recording, Challenges would have been released. But by the time you view it, it would have been a different track. But check out Challenges. And my personal recommendation is Confidence. So check out each tune, Confidence. Yeah, check it out. A massive shout out as well to our bro, Cadmiel, who couldn't make it today, but you'll be seeing him shortly. So don't worry too much about that. So this particular episode, we're still on Stolen Future, by the way. As the title of this particular episode suggests, we're going to get into it and kind of extract where I was going with it. So, fight the good fight, not with fists, but save those who were prepared to slit their wrists, because their lives were stolen. And when they cried out, nobody would hold them. And those who were supposed to hold them were found with their arms folded. Now the weak in faith have no faith. The truth is, their faith is eroded. So right there's a whole world behind that particular lyric right there. Fight the good fight, not with fists. So there are properties that the Most High God has given many of us. And these properties require our concentration, dedication. And what are the properties that I'm talking about? The properties that I'm referring to are children. These are gifts that God has given you and I. And the reason why I've referred to them as properties, I'm not calling them assets or anything like that, or tangible physical things. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm using the analogy to let you know that these are souls that God is going to come back to ask us how we have managed them, how we have nurtured them, and how we've looked after them. Because as parents, we are only caretakers. This also applies to you if you're an uncle and you have nieces and nephews. This also applies to you if you're even a godparent. The fact that you've made an agreement with somebody to stand in to be a godparent for somebody, it's not a small task. It's not a small thing. The moment you enter into that type of agreement, it's a big thing. But we live in a world where it's fun to be a godmother and it's fun to be a godfather. But coming back on track as to what inspired that particular lyric that I've just shared with you all, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. Let's get into it now. So, when I was in primary school, I may have been I think I was about 7 years old. There was a boy in school that I would normally play football with on the playground. And I would say we were close, but he wasn't my best friend. I had my best friend, but he wasn't, it was just a friend that I'll play football with. For those of you tuning in America, it's not American football. You guys call it football. Soccer. So we was playing soccer. And basically what happened, those that were looking after me at that time felt that, it was a good idea for me to be babysat by this particular friend's mother. Yeah. And they didn't live too far from the school. During that period in time, I was taken to their house on a number of occasions and so forth. I would play computer games, would eat, just the usual thing. And I would then be picked up and then taken home. Sorry, I hit the mic. I'll be taken home and that type of thing, yeah? All right, cool. That was, I could even tell you what year that was. That might have been 1997, 90, I don't know. Years ago. Okay, cool. I've forgotten about that. Didn't really think nothing of it. I would say probably in the year 2010, maybe. My mum asks me to pray on her picture. There's some stuff that was going on at that time, and gave me a picture and said to me, if you don't mind, please take this picture and just pray with my picture. Didn't think nothing of it. I went home that night, prayed took the picture in my hand, prayed, and I remember what happened. Something distinctive happened while I was praying, but prayed on the picture and I gave God thanks. And I was assured that whatever it is that needed to be done for my mum's been done. I went to sleep that night. When I went to sleep that night, bear in mind, I'm skipping something. Before I share with you what took place in my dream, yeah? The same friend that I used to play soccer with, or football with, for those of you in the UK as well. When it came to football, I was unmatched. The pace, the speed, it was quite intense. It was quite intense. And I remember I would practice with a tennis ball. It was a small tennis ball. And that practice with the tennis ball, I was a problem for other children. And the thing is, it was really strange because I never conceived the idea that I wanted to be a football player, but I possessed all the qualities to go for trials and that type of thing. I was really good at football. All right. During that time in primary school, there was a stage in my life I couldn't play football anymore. But I wouldn't position myself for anyone to pass the ball to me. I was hiding. All of a sudden, there was a fear to play football. I couldn't play. It was really weird, and it went throughout even like teenage life and like early 20s. The same thing. So I would have the desire to play football, but I just couldn't play anymore. It was really weird. All right. So fast forward now. So I've prayed on the picture. I've gone to sleep that night. As I've gone to sleep that night, not too far from where I live, I saw in the middle of the road, this same particular friend playing football in the middle of the road. There wasn't any cars nearby, but he was in the road playing. And he said to me, why don't I play with him? And I said to him, yeah, sure. Let me just go and get change and come back. So in the dream, I've walked over to my house. As I've got to the front door, I've seen the same friend's mother at my front door. I can see her. She can't see me. And she's like walked through me. So it was like I'm a spirit. So she's walked through me and left the front door open. So I've gone into the house and I've seen my bedroom. And what was supposed to be my bedroom was actually this boy's bedroom. So I've walked into what was supposed to be my bedroom, but the contents of the room was now his room. And there was all these football shoes that was packed. All these football shoes that was packed inside of that room. And I remember in that moment, it was said within my heart that all those boxes belonged to other people. And I heard the Spirit of God say to me, mine is second from the bottom. Take it out. So I drew it out and I opened it and it was my football shoes that was in there. And he said, leave with it. So I left with it. I say this to say, watch over your children. The world that we're living in is not as you're seeing it. Just because you don't believe in certain things, it doesn't mean it can't hit you. Those things that come into your life, it doesn't require you to believe in it. What's going to steal from you spiritually doesn't require your belief system. The only thing that can protect you from these things is the blood of Jesus, the Son of God. I share this not to frighten you or to scare you, but for those of us that like to send our children on sleepovers and that type of thing, you need to make sure you cross your T's and dot the I's. Make sure you understand. If I was you, don't send your child on no sleepover business. Don't just keep a watchful eye over them. If you want a example of how you should treat your children, look at the hen. The hen isn't playing about with her chicks. She hasn't got time to have, if she's got 5 chicks, she hasn't got time to be content with the 4. She wants to know where the other one is as well. She's stopping what she's doing to find out where the other one is because she's aware that the hawk is around. So use that as an example to watch over your children. As I mentioned at the beginning, these are the properties of God. Every single child that is upon the face of this planet is known by God, and their angels see the face of the Father and communicates with God concerning their welfare. So every now and again, reports are going up on how you're treating your children, what you're saying to them, how you're conducting yourself around them, how you're shaping their understanding of things. So be mindful. Sometimes I used to ask, why did I go through some of the things that I've gone through? But if I'm totally honest with you now, I've grown to understand that it's important for me to share these experiences. I'm fully aware that some people are not going to believe what I'm saying, and that's fine. But it's my duty not to think about how I'm going to be seen, but it's my duty to share with you these experiences so you're in a better position to avoid these things. So you won't be a victim of a stolen future, and your children won't be victims of stolen futures. Because I was an exceptional football player, but when that time came, I was afraid of the ball and I didn't know what happened to me. Nobody had answers to what had happened to me until that day when I prayed for my mum's picture. And that taught me something. Your breakthrough comes off the back of what you do for your neighbor. Your breakthrough comes off the back of the good service that you do for your neighbor. God will look into your matter. God will not be mocked. We can't have our cake and eat it. If the floodgates are going to come into your life, it's dependent on how you treat your fellow man. And it's not just the person that can pay you back. It's the person that can't pay you back. It's not the person that can do the same thing for you. That, you know, if I do it for this person, he's got me covered. He's got me sorted. You know, like, man will look after me. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the person that can't do it back for you. And then by doing so, God will bless you. God will bless you. You will always be remembered by God. Anything good that's supposed to come, you will ensure it comes your way. In all those years, it's only when I prayed on my mother's picture that my salvation came, my redemption came, my breakthrough came. This is how it is, my people. And this is the reason why Behind the Lyric has been created. The inspiration has been given to me that I may share these kind of scenarios and stories with you all. I pray by the grace of God at some point, we'll get guests on the show to be able to elaborate and share their experiences as well, for you to understand that this is a real thing. Let's go to what the scripture says. In Proverbs chapter 27, verse 23, it says, "Be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herds." Somebody reading this will say, yeah, this is referring to cows and sheep and goats and, you know, hog and pig and that type of thing. No, the mind of the Spirit of God will be given to you for you to understand that it's not just in reference to that. He's also talking about your children as well. Be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herds. Have your mind set on their welfare. Be awake, be alert. The Bible tells us that there was a field, and in that field, somebody came to sow tares among the wheat in the nighttime. So while you are drinking and partying and chilling and womanizing and smoking and gambling and doing all of those type of things, what's happening with your child? What's happening with your children? You have to be mindful of these things. The Bible tells us that the very first tangible king, I was going to say the very first king, but we've got King Jesus, we've had him. But our people some time ago cried out and said, other nations have a king, we want a king. And this king, his name is Saul. The same king, unfortunately, as many of you may know, his end wasn't good. And this particular king, according to the scriptures, it says he killed himself because of the shame that was about to take place in his life and take place in the army of Israel's life. He took his life. And the mighty men, when they found out that King Saul had taken his life, the Bible tells us they ran away from their cities. They ran away. But it also makes mention of the fact that the Philistines at the time, who they were going to war with, they occupied the buildings and the cities that the mighty men left behind. Who are these buildings and who are these cities? Your children, our children. If you leave your seat, the enemy will occupy your space. So a child that was showing such a bright future, all of a sudden, they're afraid of the ball coming to them. You understanding where we're coming from with this? Your child that everybody in the family can see that this particular child is going to be something special, now is standing outside of William Hill. For those of you who are in America or other parts of the world who are not familiar, that's a gambling shop. It's standing outside of Ladbrokes. Like these things are taking place. If you leave your seat, the enemy will be passionate in occupying your place or occupying your space. This is real, brothers and sisters. This is real. So, there is been a war against children from the beginning to ensure that they're cut off before the time. The Bible again tells us, I'll keep knocking the mic. Sorry, my bro, I keep knocking the mic. The Bible tells us that when Jesus was born, there was a king who was angry because he knew that his throne is about to be turned upside down, and was jealous and wanted to destroy Jesus. But when the wise men didn't come back to give a report onto the king to say that we found the location of the child, when he realized the wise men didn't come back, he was vexed and sent out a decree that every child up to a certain age should be destroyed. And this is exactly what happened. But that leads to the next point of this particular scripture I want to share with you all. Matthew chapter 2, verses 12 to 14. So Matthew chapter 2 from verses 12 to 14. King James Version, by the way, it says, "And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt." You know what's profound about this? Jesus wasn't Joseph's biological child. It's a very deep message here, you know. It gets to a stage in your life where, as a child of God, you got to protect the property of God. Even though there's no kind of connection between you and that child, he will use you to protect that child. Because you're that vessel that's been ordained for that moment. Until the time comes for the child to stand upon their 2 feet and do and perform the works that needs to be done. You know? So, as children of God, we have to remember that it's not about me, myself, and I, and me and mine. That's not what it's about here. The wings of God, using it as a metaphor, by the way. I don't want theologians coming in here saying, but God don't have wings. That's not what I'm trying to say. But the loving wings of God, Lion Rose laughing. The loving wings of God, it's not just for the house of Israel, or the house of Jacob. It's not just for that. And I know I've got brothers and sisters that are out there who will say, yeah, but it's only for the Hebrew people, us Hebrew. Like, the love of God is not just for the Hebrews or just for, he's extending on to all those that are prepared to receive him. He's given out an open invitation onto all. It's down to you to accept it or to reject it. If you're going to reject it, at some point, you're going to be asked about it. Understand that. So this is not getting you to accept this information or to accept the knowledge of Christ by force. You're being given an opportunity. There's so much that's happened in my life that I can't keep it to myself. I need to share it with people. He's more real than people realize. I'm telling you, he's real, So that's it with this particular episode, to let you know that the way God works, for those of you that are out there, many have gone through and have experienced a lot of stuff during your childhood that you may say, but why would God allow me to go through that then? But why did he allow that to happen to me? It wasn't God. It wasn't God. We are given into the hands of people who accepted bribes along the way, who switched off along the way, who turned a blind eye along the way. And that small little gap, the enemy took chance over it. Your pain today will be somebody's cure tomorrow. So, and I've gone through a lot of stuff, especially in my childhood, but it has not shaped. It has shaped the way I am today, but not necessarily not so much in a negative way. He's used that pain to try and bring about progress for other people, to open other people's eyes, to empower them, And one thing I'm going to say as well, I got another testimony off the back of that. One thing I'm going to say as well is this: don't ever belittle or demean a child, because remember, they're going to be men and women one day, They're not going to stay children forever. They're going to be men and women one day. And for some of you that are out there, some of you are adults and you like bullying children, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Stop putting that type of pressure on them, Because, all right, let me share with you a story, for you to understand where I'm going with this, Let me share the story with you. In the very early years of my life, again, I would say I was about I can't remember. But anyway, I was really young. Again, I'll be left with like someone to babysit me and that type of thing. And this particular lady who used to babysit me is separate from the first babysitter that I mentioned at the beginning, right? This particular lady, she would be all smiles and so forth when, parents would be around me and that type of thing. They'll be all smiles, all lovey-dovey and stuff like that. But when they weren't around, she used to treat me bad. She used to treat me bad. I'm a man now, and I can describe some certain things I went through with her, I remember it clear as day, like holding this pillow. I remember it clear as day. She used to treat me bad. And because I couldn't articulate what was happening at the time, I could feel what was happening to me, but I couldn't articulate it. To be fair, I might have spoken about it because I was quite a vocal child. I was very kind of straightforward and so forth. So I might have, I don't remember. But I say that to say, in terms of I could feel it, is that I want you to know that just because your child isn't saying anything to you, it doesn't mean they're not feeling it. Children feel. So understand. So you might think it's just a child, it's just a pitney, they don't really know nothing. Get that out of your head. Rewire your way of thinking. They understand a lot more. Even, in fact, children are more deadly before the time that they can communicate with you verbally, because they're seeing what you're not seeing. They can see when there's other people in the room that you can't see. They can see. By the time they're able to communicate with you, sometimes that connection has been cut off. If there's a bad spirit in the room, they can see it. If there's an angel in the room, they can see it. But you may not be able to understand what they're saying because it's in a language that you don't understand, that we call baby language. It's not baby language. The Spirit of God understands what they're saying. They're talking to God. So anyway, again, I couldn't really articulate what was going on, but I just knew she would treat me differently, and she would get her children to treat me differently as well. This is a true story, by the way. Again, some of the people that I'm talking about, they may even tune in and watch this, but again, I'm sharing this not to highlight anybody's faults, because I'm not holding anything against anybody. But like Joseph said, it was necessary for me to go through this. It was necessary for me to go through this, that I may be able to share it with people tomorrow, that they may be able to avoid some of these traps and some of these things and be aware of some of the stuff that's going on under the sun, So yeah, again, she'll treat me differently, especially she'll get her children to kind of treat me different. And they were children, like it's not their fault, but they were manipulated to treat me differently. All right, cool. That was going on. But again, we moved past all of that. Fast forward now. I receive a phone call. And the phone call made me to know that one of the children wasn't feeling too well. So I should come down. So I went over and there was a lot of stuff that was going on that was unexplained. And I was I asked? No, I wasn't asked to pray. I think I asked, sorry, if you don't mind, I would like to pray. So I prayed, and when I got there, this particular lady that treated me differently, she was there. So what I'm trying to say to you all is that God, after how many years, listen, with the Most High, when the Most High's got a bone to pick with you, it's not a joke, When the Most High's got a bone to pick with you, listen, understand, people of God, understand what side you're on. And if you're on the wrong side, I humbly request that you join the winning team. Because when the Most High has a bone to pick with you, listen, I've not been thinking about them, I've not said a prayer saying one day. I've not been thinking about them, But God, because he wanted to show that the foolish things of the world will confound the wise, he wanted to show this to mankind. The same one that was a waste of space, the same one who's a foolish boy, the same one who he doesn't know nothing, the same one who he plays rough and blah, 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 don't play with him, that type of thing, is the same boy that was called to come and pray for one of her children. I'm saying child, but he was a big man at the time as well, when I said the prayer. And it's the same child that you belittled, is the same child that has grown today to be a man, that by the love and the mercies and the grace of our Christ was sent to pray for your child that he may be healed. So know how your children, treating these children, Know how you're treating, because you don't know that tomorrow you may need them. Tomorrow you may need them. You don't know at what point you're going to need their help. And the only way, because the Bible tells us in the book of Genesis that there was a famine in the land, and the sons of Jacob, the same brothers of Joseph who sold him to slavery, they had to go to Joseph for help. Know how you're treating these children. Leave the children alone. Jesus said, hinder not the children, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Because he even turned on his disciples. I don't know why, but children is the topic of this episode right now. Jesus turned to his disciples because he was sitting there, and the children wanted to come through the crowd and get to Jesus. And the disciples were holding them back, and get back. And he blasted them. When you read it, you just read it as he said, hinder not the children, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. He said, get out of the way. Get out of the way. The kingdom of God concerns these ones as well. Bring them to me. Listen, Master Jesus, he ain't got no favorites, He didn't hold no punches. Listen, he didn't hold back. He said, get out of the way. For this reason, I came, because of them as well, that the seed that my Father has put in them should be protected. Speaking of protected, When children are born, you would notice something. Their fists are clenched like that. You don't really see them like that. Your fists are clenched like that. And one of the reasons why their fists are clenched like that is because they've come from God with something. They've come from God with something. But as the parent, seek the face of God to find out what they've come down with. What they've come down from God with. That way you are better equipped to know what should be in front of them, what shouldn't be in front of them, what they should be nurtured in, what they should avoid. You're better equipped to understand what that is, And for those of you that don't have children, when I pray that this episode empowers you so you know how to treat your child, I'm a parent as well. I'm a father. And you hear me saying these things, but there's always room for development and always room for improvement as well. And I'm always seeking for ways to be better, because then by doing so, my nieces and nephews will also reap the benefit of it. My children will reap the benefit as well, So that's what today's episode is all about. Fight the good fight, but not with fists. And save those who are prepared to slit their wrists because their lives were stolen. You see, we have to understand that some people react a certain way because their lives were stolen. You see them kind of behave in a certain way. It's because spiritually they're looking for something that's been taken from them. And physically, they don't know why they're behaving. They don't know why they're reacting like that. It's because spiritually something's been taken from them and they feel out of place. They're in their body, but they're out of body. Something isn't right. You see, that's why Psalm 37 says, "Fret not thyself because of evildoers, and do not be envious because of workers of iniquity." The reason why it says that is because the man that you see driving the big car, do you know how you got that car? Do you know how you got that car? The woman that you see with a big wedding, do you know how she got the money to get that wedding? Don't look at what anybody else has and be envious over it. You don't know the origins of how they got that. You don't know what they've got to pay back to maintain that. Because Satan is a real tax man. For the little that you take from him, he's going to tax you for the rest of your life. And he's going to ask for things that you can't pay. That's the enemy. Whereas Jesus, he gives, and he gives freely. So you're going to choose. I encourage you to make the right choice. Leave Obeah man out of this. Leave him out of this. Leave the ritualist out of this. You may see signs. You might see great wonders. But what's the cost? What's the catch? Have you read the small print? Do you know what you're forfeiting that belongs to your unborn children? So this is what Behind the Lyric is all about. It's just highlighting, various parts of my song to kind of share with you why I was saying what I was saying, because it's coming from a real place. It might go over people's heads, but I just want to kind of just bring it down to a level that everybody will be able to digest and understand and open people's eyes, So big up everybody, man. I'm grateful for this moment, and I'm grateful for all of you that I've taken the time to watch this as well. If you know what me and my brother here, Roars, has gone through, even in this present moment in time, even to record this particular episode, it's been a struggle. It's been a real struggle. The lighting has been a struggle. This is not the first time we've tried to record. This is the first time we've actually been able to record, but we've tried on a number of occasions. We came the other day and we couldn't get into the building. It was it's very real. It's very real. I've got this cold. This is the longest I've ever had a cold, which has tried to deter me from doing this. I've tried to push through, but then we can't get into the room, the building. It's been tough, but all of this is to try and hinder this being shared with you all, So I think that comes to a conclusion for today's episode. So I give God thanks, and I thank God for every single one of you. And I pray that if you've seen your child as like, you find yourself shouting a lot at your child, or you find yourself drapesing your child a lot and that type of thing, refrain from doing all of that, because they're going to be a man one day, they're going to be a woman one day, and on the day when they open their mouth to look into your face to talk to you, you may not have, the strength to even bear carrying some of the stuff that they're going to say to you. So make sure when they do open their mouth, they're going to be pouring blessings on you and not holding you to account for what you haven't done for them. That I remember the time when you did this. Why did you do that? Because they're now men and women now, and they now understand that in order for you to do that, what type of mindset you are under, because they're men now, they're women now, they now understand the position that you were in, and if they're looking at their own children and thinking, I wouldn't starve my own child out of punishment. Why did that do that to me? These questions are coming your way, because the Bible tells us that, every time I'm saying we're concluded, I keep going on. The Bible tells us that John the Baptist's head was chopped off. But hear this. The wife of the king had a bone to pick with John the Baptist, because John the Baptist was saying to the king, listen, the woman that you're marrying, you're not allowed to marry her, that's your brother's wife. What do you think you're doing? So that woman was vexed with John the Baptist. But hear this. Hear this. He married her anyway. But that woman was vexed with John the Baptist. And for years she was holding this against him. But her daughter started dancing in the palace. And the king got drunk. And he had all these guests. Prominent, powerful people, guests, in the room. And openly he said to the girl, anything that you need and you want, tell me and I'll give it to you. You know what the girl done? She went to her mother and said, this is what the king said. What should I do? What did the woman say? Give me the head of John the Baptist. And what happened? The girl asked for the head of John the Baptist, and the king was so displeased. But because of the request, and he was bound by his pride, his reputation, because he spoke in the presence of other people, he followed through with it. The executioner went into the jailhouse, because by then John the Baptist was arrested. The executioner went into the jail, went into the cell, and did what he did to John the Baptist, and brought his head on a plate. But the main point that I want to get to, coming back full circle to what I'm saying about children, that one day they're going to be men and women, and they're going to stand in your face based on how you've treated them, is this. The Bible tells us that the girl brought the head of John the Baptist. She didn't keep it to herself. She didn't keep it. She's not the one who requested it. She brought the head to the mum. So you will reap what you have sown. What you've put out there is what's going to come back to you. So if you're going to treat a child in a certain type of way, understand that it's coming back to you, because it's not one of those cases where you're just going to get away with it and be like, nah, yeah, I've forgotten about it. It's coming to you, and it's going to be a woman standing in front of you with her children. It's going to be a man standing in front of you with his wife and children, looking at you and saying, Dad, why did you do that? Why did you do that? But by then you was thinking, it's just a child. It's just a pitney. It's as my people say, you don't respect. It's just a child. It means nothing. It means nothing. Tomorrow's coming. People, I said, tomorrow is coming. The things that you hear me saying now is coming from a very real place. So please, I don't want you to be on the receiving end of your child standing in front of you. And when I say standing in front of you, for some it's going to be vicious because you were vicious. But for some it will be humble because the forgiving spirit of God would have rested upon that person's soul, but they're still going to ask you questions. They're still going to say, I want to ask you some questions. Why, when you were married to dad, why did you do this and that? Why when you were married to mum, why did you do this and that? Why when you blah, blah, you said that person was Uncle so-and-so, but that person wasn't my uncle. Who was that man? All of these things, you know. Listen, children, don't joke with them. Do not joke with them, you know. So I think that comes to the conclusion. I pray that you're blessed, and I pray that this may open many of your minds as well. Love you all. Peace out. And I look forward to seeing you again. Shalom. Yeshua is humble, but he doesn't tolerate thieves that made you to stumble. Workers of iniquity, actively changing the courses of people's lives. We're speaking about this, because the truth is, this is happening under the noses of you and I. True stories.